Good morning. Let's go do this today. Gonna catch both the sunrise and the sunset today, I have a feeling. Alright, so this field here, there's 140 acres. It's kind of funky shaped, but that's irrelevant. This is the field that we did our tiling in last year, and so it's gonna be a little rough in some spots. We've got most of it was this this oats and radish cover crop that died. Oh no, I'm sorry. Most of it was the clover cover crop that we killed off last fall and worked under, and then we fit this back in March. Some of it was the oats and radish cover crop that we let go and sprayed off this spring. So this is also the field Dad was in earlier this week spraying some of that volunteer wheat. That's what the ATV tracks are out there. So we'll be here for a little while. Had to stop for a rock already. So I've got my end rows done. Let's take a minute and do a little bit of a monitor rundown for you guys. We are bouncing across those tile lines. You can watch the planter bob up and down every time we hit one. There's the tractor, there's the planter, there's the tank, front and back. Everyone. So, all right. So I've talked about a lot of these in the past, and you can see I've got way too much going on here, but some of them are basically nothing. Other ones are super important. Some of them are like, yeah, it's nice to have. So we've got a camera that's showing me off the back of the tank. Mostly that's for going down the road, and it's nice to have there. Not something I use in the field a whole lot. Likewise, over here we've got my radio. Don't use this in the spring at all, but I do use it for running the grain cart in the summer with wheat, and then again in the fall. GoPro for YouTube, camera mounts for YouTube. That's you guys. This is the fold box. Controls the planter, fold functions, and the markers, that kind of stuff up there. So then this monitor here, we'll talk about this one some other time. This is the Nitro Alert monitor. This goes with the new anhydrous bar. Not using it for planting. The main one that we need to worry about is this one. This is our John Deere 2630. That is the one that controls basically everything. So it's controlling all of my Green Star and GPS functions, meaning it's mapping the field. That's painting this blue coverage map here. It's controlling the auto steer. It's how I set my guidance lines. It's counting the acres that we've covered and the time and everything. It is also the main planter monitor. So this page here is all the planter functions. This is our population bar graph. The green squares are each individual section. So when our coverage map, when it senses that it's in an area that it's already planted, it will automatically shut the planter off so we don't get any overlap. We've got some different drop downs that we can see different sensors here. This is the vacuum pressure, vacuum on each side. And then down here we've got some different things that we can watch: population, singulation, spacing, down pressure, ride quality, and then you can do a different view that sees all of that kind of stuff. Row 3. I'm guessing it hit a rock. And there's lots of different pages and things that we can look at. This one shows a map of this whole field, and the colors are the different populations as we go through our zones. So you can see here we've got 11.5 acres done, 128 to do here. It's going to take a while. This box here, this is not super necessary. It just makes things a little bit easier. On this planter, I have variable rate fertilizer, and that was a factory installed option. Well, it uses this brown box as a monitor. Now, I don't know with it plugged in. If this was not plugged in, I would have a brown box emulator, or a screen that would look just like this that I could pull up on here. Having that monitor plugged in next to it basically just means that I can see it without having to flip through pages over here. And I can change my rates on there. And this JD Office one is so that it does the variable rate and just follows my prescription map. So another monitor that I have here, and this one we didn't have when we were planting before, but I have it now. This is our 2020 Seed Sense from Precision Planting. And like I said, a friend of mine has this monitor. It was his, or it is his. He uses it because he's got a meter stand where he can put the seed meters, like the individual row units on it, run them, and this will test to see how good of a job they're doing and help dialing them in. Anyway, he's done with that because all of his meters have been run because, you know, people are trying to use them and plant. So he lets me put it on the planter. I've got all the sensors and the harnesses and stuff that I need for that. It does not control anything. All it is doing is telling me how good of a job that we are doing. And it's really taking the same information that this monitor has. It's using the same sensors. It's amazing how different they can be given the fact that they are using the exact same sensors. But what it does is it tells me the singulation, whether or not we're getting skips or multiples, doubles. It tells me the spacing, and that one does it too. This one just does it better and in better detail. So like here I'm seeing we're getting a fair amount of skips. I mean, that's not bad. But I could adjust my vacuum pressure, these two here. If we're getting a few more skips than we are multiples, if I just turn that up, which is done by adjusting the hydraulic flow on the SCVs, maybe we can eliminate some of those skips and even that out a little bit. Now, if you follow farmers much that have these, you'll find out that well, singulation and spacing and making sure all these squares stay green tends to be a bit of a stick measuring contest, shall we say. And I don't care that much. Like, 99% is pretty darn good. If it's above 98%, I'm pretty darn happy. And I probably could do a little bit better. I could probably use Precision's meters instead of the Deere Pro Max 40s and do maybe just a little bit better. But this is good enough. I mean, that is really good. So I'm pretty happy with it. And I'll sit here and play with stuff and dial it in because I want it to do a good job. But I'm not going to get all bent out of shape about it being 98.5 instead of 99.8. It doesn't matter. So the other thing that this one does is it reads my downforce, and it has this ground contact reading. We want that to stay 100% or darn close to it. And we can adjust the air pressure in our down pressure bags. So I've got this set to maintain 50 pounds of margin, which those tend to jump all over the place, but this margin number right here, yeah, it should not be at 0. We want that to say about 50. Well, and we're bouncing over these tile lines right now, so that's why it's going to jump around quite a bit, because we're not on the smoothest ground we've ever planted. Maybe I should turn that up a little bit while we're in some of this rougher stuff and maintain extra margin, but you don't want too much because then it creates compaction along the seed trench and you know, right where you're putting the seed. So you try and run that where you're getting the seed in the ground and you're not losing ground contact, but you don't have excessive margin. So what else? It does read population. The thing is, this monitor doesn't know what it's supposed to be planting because we're doing variable rate, which I filled in the background map there. And this one up here in this corner is telling me the rate that it's supposed to be planting. So right now 32,800, but in different zones that changes. Well, this monitor doesn't know what zone we're in because it doesn't have the prescription map loaded into it. So that's that monitor. Now this one is tied into the iPad. The iPad is reading all of the exact same data. It's just making a pretty colorful map, which is kind of nice. So this one happens to be population. We can look at singulation map, where it shows me where all the skips and multiples are. And you know, there's all kinds of stuff on here that you can see. So yeah, they're nice to have. Those two are not necessary. They just make it a little easier to try and dial things in and do a really good job. All right, now that we are 10 minutes into today's video and it's just now 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm just gonna plant for a while. We're gonna cruise here. Okay, so one of the other things that I really like this 2020 monitor for, so I've been watching this map a little bit, and you can see this, I seem to have one row that consistently has a little bit of a low population, so I can pull up that row, it's row 16, and look at the details of it. And you can see our singulation is not great, and we're getting a fair amount of skips, like 4 or 5% is a lot. So it'll show me like this kernel or seed drop chart going along the bottom, and every time you see that red X, it's a skip. And if you were to see a yellow, it'd be a double. But by watching this, I can see well, there's more. I can see a relatively consistent pattern. So when we get up to the end here, we're gonna get out and take a look at that. I'm betting that I've got a broken chunk of a kernel or something stuck in one of the cells on the plate that is causing it to skip every time that plate turns around. So let's take a look and see what we got. Can you guys see those seeds? Turn the plate and look for right there. Yeah, that one. There's a skip, but I don't see why. There's a broken seed. Okay, I think it was just that one. Well, singulation went to 100%. I would say that was our problem. Cool. Well, big square open fields are nice. We can cover ground in a hurry. We are up to 60 acres done already today. Things are dialed in here, working pretty darn good. I'm happy. And it turns out I have a 4-year-old that is quite upset he did not get to come to work today. And so it looks like I'm gonna pick up some riders here at the end of the field. You guys gonna say good morning?
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye?
Bye-bye.
What?
Not saying
You're not saying it. Are you guys happy to be in the tractor?
it. Morning.
Yeah. Morning, there you go. Thanks,
Morning.
Jason.
Why'd you want to come today? What do you think you need to do?
They pets.
Huh? Yes.
I got candy.
No, you can't have candy this morning for breakfast.
Yeah.
Oh. Haven't even made it halfway down the field and he's already finding my snack bag. Okay, well, Brayson and Mama rode with us for a couple of rounds. And then Brayson reluctantly decided to get out, and he's not very happy that Rylan is staying, but Rylan's gonna hang out for a while. Most likely all day, which is fine. We have a good time together. I feel kind of bad about not being able to keep Brayson too, but it's too much with both of them right now. And Rylan does a little bit better job just not getting bored and tired, and he wants to be here, so sorry, dude, but it'll be okay. Oh yeah, as I say that, now he's gonna get tired already. I swept the floor off so he can take a nap on the floor here in a little bit. So you guys see that four-wheeler over there across the road? Kind of a long ways away, but you know, this is not a rant about people driving in our fields, because that person is actually our crop consultant. They are out taking soil samples in our bean fields. So fields that are planted to beans this spring will likely go to corn this fall, and so they are out pulling soil samples and going to send them in, get them tested. They test by zones, and then those are the they use those samples to then make our prescription maps for our variable rate fertilizer. So it's a good deal. I'm glad they're getting that done, and we'll get some good information back from them. We are up to 86 acres planted here, and we're getting up to this little pond that Dad made last summer. This is where he was moving some of that black muck dirt out and putting it up here on the higher ground and stuff. It's also where he happened to get the big tractor and the scrapers stuck last summer, if you saw that video. So it may be a little wet around it. We're gonna see how it goes and try really hard to not get this tractor stuck. We are also just about out of fertilizer, which is actually a good thing because it means we're light while we're going through some of this soft stuff. So we'll get this stuff here planted, and then when we're out of fertilizer, we'll have to go back to the farm and fill up. rider switch. Rylan was bored, which I'm surprised by. He rarely wants to leave. But we got Brayson for a little bit. So, Brayson, we're going to run out of fertilizer pretty soon. We're going to have to go fill it up, okay?
Yeah.
So you can ride until we go back to the farm. Okay.
Then we're going back to the field.
And then we're going back to the field? Well, we'll see. Well, my fertilizer tank hasn't run empty yet, but it's darn close. So this is the last round we're going to make here. We got to cross that little waterway. We don't have very much to get to the edge of the field over here, but if I go back to my map, so we started in here, we're working across, we got a little bit to do here, but we got these two pieces. This was the oats and radish cover crop. We need to go look at that before we just go over there and plant it. I think we're going to do it, but I just want to double check and verify that it is dry enough. But we've got 91 acres done, and it is not even 11 o'clock yet. We're having a great day so far. So we're gonna take the tractor and the planter back to the farm. I'm gonna jump in the gator, go check on that field and the other one across the road that I want to plant today, and then we'll make a plan from there. But load up and finish. You drank all my water?
Yeah.
Oh.
And now we can have some pop.
Oh, that's not very nice. All right, I went and looked at a couple of them spots that I wanted to, and they're not bad. One spot was bad. The other 5 that I looked were okay. So we're gonna go ahead and plant them. Yeah, it's all right. The rest of the field that we're in is all really good. It was just the next field that I got, the one dip that I was in, it was a little gooey underneath. So it was a small area. Don't let the last 5% hold you up from getting something done. So we're going to load up fertilizer. We're just going to load up the same thing we had last night, 1,250 gallons basically. I'm going to throw the rest of the seed in, the variety that I've got in there. I've got some paper bags of it yet, maybe 15 or 20 of them. We're just going to throw it in there. That way we're going to plant this all out. And I'm not sure which will last longer, the seed or the fertilizer. It doesn't matter. We'll figure it out from there. Everything is really close here. So we're getting it loaded up. Seed. Fertilizer, beans getting planted. Bags suck. Okay, we are on our way back to the field. You might notice over there, through the dust on my window, that's Dad with the disc in the cover crop side of the field that we're in planting. Back here about a month ago, maybe a little over a month ago, he sprayed those cover crops, kind of like this field over here. To kill off the volunteer wheat and any weeds that were growing through the winter, and you can see it's quite dead. So that is good, but the first load he did, where he's over there now, he did it with the big sprayer, and it was a little soft, and he cut some ruts. So he's just run the disc over the sprayer tracks to take them ruts out and clean up stuff a little bit, and then we're gonna head over there and plant it as soon as we finish up this little sliver that's over here. Okay, so I got the end rows done, and we're getting this cover crop area opened up. I want to stop up here and look and see how the planter's doing, because this is a very different ground conditions than what we have been planting in, and I just want to make sure everything is still working all right. So before we even get back there to check in, you can see what we're left with here on the ground from those cover crops. All of these little holes here are from those radishes that look like that now. Or like here was a bigger one. They've pretty well dried up, and they just disintegrate. But they put a taproot down, and they kind of loosened up the soil for us, which is a good thing. The rest of this is the oats residue, and it's pretty fragile, dried up stuff now too. There is, like over here, this was volunteer wheat that was killed off when we sprayed it. So that's the other residue. But for the most part, this is nice planting conditions. I just was shocked at how slowly it dried out. So let's see how the planter's doing back here. So we're getting a lot of nice loose dirt. That is good. I like that. Definitely a little wetter down deeper than what we were in. There's our seed. Let's find another one. It looks a little bit shallower, but we're in plenty of moisture. Only 1.5 inches there. going to turn the down pressure up a little bit. I shouldn't have to really set it deeper because the gauge wheels should be the same depth, but we may not be getting it pushed into the ground like we want, because this is probably harder than the stuff that we worked back in March and is a little bit looser. So yeah, right there it was. Yeah, we're going to turn our down pressure up, but I think we'll be all right here. Getting across this, but we're also finding some stuff that's getting just a little bit sketcy. There was a wet spot in them ends there. There's a few spots where I'm cutting a little bit of a rut that I'm not thrilled with, but we're going to do it anyway. The next field, however, the one over there across the road, well, when I rode across it with the gator, I thought all of it but that one spot was going to be okay, and then Dad pulled in there with the disc to go and get the ruts in a couple of spots from the sprayer from a month ago, and he didn't even unfold the disc. He pulled it right out and said, nope, we can't go there. So we got to figure something else out, and I don't know where that's going to be just yet, but we got to finish this. I don't know, what do we got left here? We got about 20 acres left. Maybe not even that, 15 acres left, and then I don't know what we're gonna do. One more electric pole to dodge, and we are done with this field. There, sweet, 140.2 acres done here today. It is just about 3 o'clock, so we're doing really good, but I don't know where we're gonna go next. So, plan here, fold up, head back to the farm, jump on the gator, and go start checking some fields. I was going through my list here a little bit, seeing what we gotta do yet, and what might be ready. So, I've got a couple ideas and places to check, but we may not have anything ready to plant. We may have to jump in a field cultivator, which means we got to switch the disc from the big tractor to the field cultivator, and we want to take the disc to Berkey tomorrow, so I don't really know. I don't know what we're doing. Oh, we did cross halfway in that field though, so that's good. That's progress. We're more than half done with our corn. Okay, since the field that I wanted to go to is not ready, this is our next best option because we don't have to do any tillage work. We can just come in here and plant. Again, it's that same oats radish cover crop that we killed off the volunteer wheat earlier this spring. Well, that doesn't seem terrible. No, that's okay. That's good. I'm in the low spot here. We'll check a couple other spots and see what the rest of the field looks like. They don't need a shovel here. Yeah, that's too wet. Okay, this area is typically one of the wettest and last place that would hold water on this field. In fact, there's not much residue here because the wheat drowned it out last year. Ouch. Dang. It's iffy. Yeah, all right, I'll plant that. This corner also tends to be super wet, and it is most dry on top, which I'm surprised by. So I think we can come here. So right across the road from where we just were, this is one of our other options. The problem is this is chiseled bean stubble that has to get fit, and we need to use the field cultivator, which is not hooked up, and I don't want to take the time to do it right now. But I'm going to look at it and see if we don't have any other options after the one that we just were in, then I'm going to see if I can't get somebody to come over here with a field cultivator and get it ready to go. So this field's got a couple of these little low pockets here with this really black, mucky dirt. And, well, it's soft. That's good to go. By soft, I don't mean wet soft. I just mean it's light, fluffy dirt. Yeah, it dries out fast. It drains well. So I'm gonna go check some of the wet pockets, and we'll see. But from what I've seen, this field looks good too. Good to go. Okay, we are planting again. So we're in that field with the cover crops. This field is kind of, again, funky shaped. Just show you the outline of it, like that. And there's a dike over there that cuts that way, all the way across there. And so we end up farming it in two different directions. So this first pass here is going to go north and south, and we'll work the rest of the field that way, north and south. And then these lines will all go east and west, and we kind of use this pass that I'm driving on now as end rows. And it's funky, but it's the way that it works, and it's actually better from erosion control standpoint because of the way that the ground slopes, and you want the water to run across the rows, not down the rows. There is 65 acres in this field, I believe, and I should have enough seed. I'm not real sure where we're at with seed or fertilizer. I think we're going to be just a touch short on fertilizer and maybe real close on seed. So we're just going to plant it out. This is, again, not the variety that I had scheduled to plant here, but it's that 110-day corn, and we got to get rid of it, and so I am planting it out. That's what this field would all look like if Dad hadn't sprayed it. He sprayed this with the ATV sprayer, which is why we don't have any big ruts from the sprayer. We didn't have to run the disc over it like that last field. So, yeah, that was a good move. So, you remember that spot we were looking at where I said I didn't even have to get the shovel out? It's right there. I probably shouldn't have drove through there, and I probably shouldn't have drove through there, which means I probably shouldn't drive through here either. So, about that. Yeah, we're gonna drive through it, but we're gonna lift the planter up like I did on the other ones, because we don't need to plant through it. Ugh. If I drove all the way around it, I leave too big of an unplanted spot. This way I can set it down as soon as the ground gets dry on top. And it's not great, but it's okay. It's okay. We are to that point in the year where if we have to go around a couple of wet spots, we're gonna go around a couple of wet spots. It's not ideal, but it's the 18th of May, and we got a long ways to go. And depending on which forecast you look at and where you look, the forecast for next week may be okay or it may not be. I don't really know. I do know there's a chance of rain on Monday. Doesn't look like much Monday, but then they're calling for more stuff on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday here. But at Berkey, which is 35 miles from here, they say maybe a little bit of rain on Monday and then again on Friday. Like, they're not the same forecast at all, so it's hard for me to say one way or the other. If we don't get anything next week, then that's good. It gives everything a little extra longer to dry out, and we should be able to get some of this stuff wrapped up. But we'll see, I guess. Dad got back from Berkey and hooked up the field cultivator. Went into that field across the road that I thought was ready to go, so he's working that down now. Did I tell you already? I don't remember if I told you or not, but he said it's too wet at Berkey, which means we're not going there tomorrow. So we have to find places to go around here in order to keep moving. Otherwise, yeah, we're not gonna get anything done. So we're gonna go across the road next, and then I don't know where from there, but I really hope it doesn't rain on Monday and we get till Tuesday or Wednesday to get down there and get that stuff planted. Well, I know what I'm gonna run out of first. Seed. Low tank warning is on, so we can plant about 5 acres-ish yet. We've got almost 32 done in this field. We're right at halfway right now. So, yeah, that's good. That's good. We're using up the 110-day. I do still have another box of this 110-day corn, but Phil took it to Berkey because I thought I was going to plant it there tomorrow. I am not. So if that doesn't happen by the end of the week, we're probably going to have to swap it out. We'll see. I hope I get it planted. Anyway, we'll plant until the tanks are empty here and then head back to the farm. We'll fill up with enough seed to finish this field, plant the one across the road. We'll bring enough fertilizer with us so we can just keep rolling. Of course, I run out of seed when I'm doing ends along the road. Never fails. I thought I would run out before I got to this point, and then I was like, well, I gotta plant the ends, and then I ran out of seed. So we're gonna see if they're even, both empty. If they are, we're gonna pull out right here. If they're not even, we'll level them out, plant. Not quite. We got a little more in this one than over here, so we'll swap some over, and I bet I can plant another 2 acres anyway. 4's empty. Yeah. All right, good enough. Let's go load it up. All right, we're loaded up. I'm gonna head back to the field, but there's pizza in the house. I'm gonna go grab a slice real quick. You see that? That's the level of our fertilizer tank. She's getting a little low. I think we got enough. This is the point where I start questioning my math skills back in the winter and figuring out how much we need, because it's not as simple as give me this many gallons. You got to convert gallons into tons and figure it out. And with my variable rate, things can get a little dicey sometimes. So I think we're okay. I think they brought it all. Maybe they didn't bring it all. I don't know. We don't have that much to do yet, so it's probably right. Back in the field here. It looks and feels like it's going to rain, but the radar shows it breaking apart, and so I don't know if it's going to make it here or not tonight. We're going to keep going as long as we can, or until we're finished with this field and the one across the road. So that's going to be a little while yet here, but things are going pretty well. So Dad got done with that field across the road. He jumped over to another one across the next road, and that's good. What means we'll have something to do tomorrow. But outside of that, I don't know how much more we've really got ready to do. So keep rolling. All right, we are getting close to the end of this field here, down to 4-ish acres or so. I've just got 1 or 2 more passes over here, and then I got to plant half a pass back up towards the road, and then there's some short rows up there by the house where the rows kind of go all over the place. I got to pitch it in, so good. It's not quite 8:30. It's going to be a late one. We've got another, well, there's 65, so we got 70-ish acres to do here yet tonight. Good news is we've already crossed 200 for the day, which means we're going to have a huge day if all goes well for the next field. Done here. The nice thing about fields across the road from each other, you can jump across the road without having to full load. Makes things a little easier. I'm going to attempt to show you guys what happens when you have electric poles in the field. They're between planter pass and the road, and you can't get planter through there. There is back there. So we end up doing that, planting the road or the grass along the road, but nothing I can do. Dad couldn't get through there with the field cultivator. Oh yeah, then there's this whole line of electric poles on this road that there's not enough room to swerve around them, so we pull up, we stop, we back up, we try and pull around the pole and get close to it, and it's a giant pain in the butt. But better to do it now while there's still a little bit of daylight than wait until midnight when I'm back down here and tired. This is where things can tend to get just a little bit dicey, so I'll attempt to show you this as best I can. But basically, you see that pole there. I'm going to turn the camera. So we pull up to it about as close as we can there. I lift up the planter. And then we have to back up, and we have to back up straight enough that our tank backs up, which it's a 4-wheel steer tank hooked up behind the planter. Like, if it gets crooked, there ain't no straightening it out. And there it goes. But we got far enough that I should be able to turn and swing that end of the planter out around the electric pole. We made it. And then we swerve back out into the field here, and we get straight, hit the auto steer, and then once the planter's trailing straight behind me, I will drop it. We are leaving quite a big gap there, but I'm going to turn around and go right back the same path, starting where I dropped the planter, pulling up to the pole, going the other way, and then we'll back out around, and same type of thing. So it's a tedious, crappy process here, but that's how these poles work along this road. It's what we fight. In Michigan, they put the poles out in the road. In Ohio, they're right on the road. What are you going to do? The other thing I do to help mitigate these poles and their interference in me doing field work here is I put a third set of end rows in here. Normally I only plant 2 passes on the end of a field to turn around on, but here, so that I can avoid those poles, I'll put a third pass in. Gives me a little bit more room. I counted there are 9 electric poles in this 62 acre field. 9. All right, I finally got all the end rows done. Believe it or not, this is the first field that we have planted this spring that was worked right before we planted it. Like, everything else was done either in March or was the cover crop stale seed bed stuff from last year. So I want to get out and check what I'm doing. Plus, I'm in a really cool spot in the field. I want to show you this dirt, even though it got dark on me. Can you guys see how dark black this dirt is? Like, this is what I imagine Iowa is like, or Illinois, central Illinois, everywhere. And we have like 4 acres of it, but it is just, it's black. Black. There you can see it next to most of our dirt, and then this stuff. And it's really cool. But it's soft and fluffy, which means I'm probably planting these this corn back here about, 4 inches deep, because that's what happens. See, you can't even see anything, it's so dark. Dirt. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is a row. Let's see if we can find a seed. It's hard to find the exact seed trench when all the dirt is so loose, but part of that is because of this soil type. Part of it is because it was just work. There it is. Oh, that's not so deep. 2.5, 3 inches. But the thing about this black soil is that it's black, and so it absorbs heat really well, which means it gets warm, and that seed will come up super fast because of that. Plus, it's soft. It doesn't crust over, so we don't have to worry about it not coming up. It'll grow through that just fine. All right, I just got done editing today's video up to this point. We're at 37 minutes. I apologize. If you're still with me, thanks for sticking it out. I know, but I feel like it's been a lot of really good content and stuff, so I promise we're almost done. We've got 28 acres left. It'll take me about an hour and a half here yet. We're 33 acres into this field. It's going well. Everything is planting and working really nice, so I'll check in with you guys as we're finishing it up. We might not quite get done. I got 6 acres left. My low tank warning came on, and I got a row that's not planting. Now, I'm sure I got to level off the tanks, but we might not have 6 acres worth of seed left. Well, I don't know if it's 6 acres worth, but there is still a fair amount of seed. It was just not level. It was piled up on the one side, so I leveled it off. We'll plant as long as we can. Are we gonna make it? I think unbelievably, I think we are. I thought for sure I was gonna run out of seed. No, we're still good. We're still good. Sweet. It is a little after midnight, 12:02, and we're gonna get it done. And that is why having an accurate working seed scale on my seed tender is so nice, because I bet there's not a half a bag left in that planter. So we're dead on. All right, folding up, heading back to the farm. All right, let's wrap this up. So we had a day, let me tell you. So we did 62 acres in that field, plus the 64 from the previous is 126, plus the 140 from this morning. So 140 plus 126 is 266 acres with a 16-row low-speed planter. I don't even have the high-speed kit. We did good. That's really good. So I was doing a little figuring here as we were wrapping stuff up. We're running out of fields, which is good. We have that one big chunk that we decided was too wet today. There's almost, we're going to call it 130 acres in that field. Outside of that, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 other fields or farms to plant, but it only adds up to let's see, 36 and 30 is 66, plus 20 is 86, plus 70, 150, a little over 150 acres. So we could plant all of that tomorrow and then be done here at Waldron, except for the one field that was too wet today, and whether it's dry enough tomorrow, I don't know. And then the big chunk down to Berkey. So we're wrapping it up, which is awesome. But we're going to have to go and check those fields tomorrow to make sure they're dry enough. I'm not entirely convinced that any of them or all of them will be dry enough to do. One of them is going to need fit with a field cultivator, but it's just a little 20-acre piece. The rest of it, I think we can just plant. So thanks for sticking with me today. I appreciate it. I know most of you don't care that the videos get to be 40 minutes long. I don't like making 40-minute long videos, so I'll try and keep it a little briefer tomorrow. But we will be here tomorrow. Tomorrow's Sunday, and we're gonna see how things go. So have a great night, everybody. If you like what you're seeing, hit that subscribe button, like the videos, help me out. Just pushing it so that I get more views. Every time you hit that like button and subscribe, it helps me with YouTube's algorithm. So thanks, guys. Have a great night. We'll see you in the morning.